Hey there folks, Dan here from Near Mint Condition. I recently picked up this Unofficial Guide to Vintage Transformers by J.E. Alvarez, and I thought I'd give it a review. Now, this is not the first edition of this book. I bought the first edition when it came out many years ago, but I ended up selling it in favor of the Generations book because I preferred the comprehensiveness and the photography of that book. This version serves a different purpose. So, just flipping through, starting with the back and flipping to the front, because that's how I like to do it. Merchandise coverage, it goes all the way through Beast Wars, and then tracking back, of course, through G2 and G1 in chronological order. So, this book has incredible photography throughout. And one of the things that I like most about it is all of this wonderful packaging photography. So not only do we get the pictures of the figures, but the pictures of the box artwork and the boxes themselves, I find so fascinating. This sort of thing like this, where it's got all the creases and whatnot, but this is still in such great shape, that brings back a lot of memories for me from when I was a kid and collecting these Transformers. Because as you know, I'm an out-of-box collector. I don't keep any of this packaging. So to see all of this packaging in this book is truly wonderful. And just to see what it looked like when it came out. Now, one of the wonderful things about this book, and frankly, the reason that I picked it up this time, was because it features a very long section on the Autobot minicars. Because not only were the Autobot minicars cheap in the US, but they were also, because they were smaller, sometimes the only economical version of these toys that could come out in other countries. And so it's got just a huge archive of packaging art and different variations from different countries, the majority of which is from the collection of Ronan Kaufman, who, if you don't follow him on Instagram, he's got a wonderful site. One of the things that kind of bugs me about this book, though, is just how it's laid out generally. Now, so for instance, let's take this spread. This book is basically a yearbook of all of the different Transformer releases from G1 through Beast Wars. And it would be much better if it had used consistent design principles throughout. Here you can see you've got text along the insides of the pages, pictures on the outsides of the pages. This does not look like it was laid out as a two-page spread, right? Ideally, we would have all the pictures lining the insides and all the text along the outsides. And maybe that's just me, but that bothered me throughout the book, and I think it's something that they could improve on for the next edition. One of the other interesting things that this book does is throughout the book, it talks about kind of what these different figures are going to cost you right now. And he talks about that in the introduction, saying, yes, this obviously dates the book, but it's valuable information to include. And so I'm of two minds about it. Because you've got, say, like this caption here says, in 1987, Fortress Maximus originally sold for $100. Today, a sealed version can sell upwards of $10,000. This price has come down substantially with the Takara Encore reissue in 2013. So this is prices as of 2017, and they're certainly consistent throughout the book. So even 10 years from now, you could look at this book and say, okay, well, if this was $10,000 in 2017 and everything else was, $5,000, $2,250, whatever it was, in 2017, I can kind of expect what to pay for it now. But I think it's an interesting choice to include that information. It's interesting, if anything, just to be able to compare the different things, because of course how much they cost is not only indicative of how rare they are, but how popular they are right now. So I think it's interesting information to include, and I don't know that he could have done it any better without dating the book. It's also got a lot of interesting, again, talking about box art, comparisons between the Japanese style box art and the American box art, which I find also fascinating since they're so different. And then going into G2, man, this G2 stuff, I swear, I see this and I think, like, I have a hard time remembering the store shelves for G1, honestly, just because it was, so long ago. But, like, this G2 stuff, I remember this being on the shelves when I was in high school. And this stuff, it just makes me think, man, I wish I had bought everything. So I really enjoy this book. It's a good book to get, especially if you don't have a resource to show you all of these different things. And it's a good companion if you've got the First Generations book. I really enjoyed it. I think it's worth the price. It is, let's check. It is $29.99. I've seen it in a bunch of different places lately, and I think it's worth picking up. So if you got questions, I'd love to answer them. Thanks for checking out our channel, and I'll see you next time.